Okay, hello, Professor Fulkerson. I will be sharing with you what I've created to achieve the last part of our five pillars of reading, which was the nonfiction section of comprehension. So I'm going to first start with my two anchor charts. So here is the second one I made because the tabs got flipped around. So the second one was involved with background knowledge questions, and these are questions or statements that we can use, that our students can read to prompt and use background knowledge, or that we as a teacher can have in the back of our mind to remind students that background knowledge is a powerful thing when it comes to comprehension. So just trying to let students know that it's okay to use all of the knowledge that they have within their brain to aid the learning process. Giovanni talked about that one of her students wasn't comfortable relating imagery from a movie to something that they were reading about because he didn't think that non-educational or academic things should influence his educational endeavors. And she told him that that was not right and that we should use our background knowledge frequently. So we'll move on to my second anchor chart here. So this is about how structurally nonfiction passages, we work through them differently, and they have different things to help us, like table of contents, sections and subheadings, and glossaries and indexes. I talked about features of the text, and this is something I think is really important, is that editors, authors, and publishers work really hard to make books look the way they do on purpose. And it's important to have that in mind because if they did it for a reason, is they probably did it to help the audience and either be more engaging. Uh, they identified strong vocabulary words, and it can overall aid understanding when you are aware of the structure and the features of the text. And then finally is nonfiction texts are informational and engaging. And we just have to know that a lot of these nonfiction things we work with are going to be multimedia, or at least include things like videos, photos, graphs, maps. And I said that this helps readers stay engaged, and it requires the audience to understand things in different ways, engaging different types of understanding. So those are my two anchor charts. Now I'm going to move on to my lesson plan. So my lesson plan is right here. In this lesson plan, I planned it for seventh grade, and it is associated with a standard where you have to read multiple different things about the same topic. And this one is about pollution and ocean garbage. So I went ahead with the KW one. And as you can see, I started opening up with this map interpretation of like the different river systems of the American Southeast. And this was to prompt students and engage knowledge about their community. Like people who live in Owensboro should know that we are on the Ohio River and all that good stuff. So here was my Google form to start. And then, so that was my lesson plan. So I'm going to move on to my online resource now. So my online resource is going to be National Geographic Magazine. And that is just because they have been in publication for so long, is that you can access older issues for free. And if you wanted to, I'm sure lots of schools in the area here do purchase the National Geographic stuff. Or if we move on to my one of my student activities is that I went ahead and gathered the directions to get a library card at the Davis County Public Library. And this tells you how to get an online application, or if you just want to fill one out in person. I've heard doing it in person is just a little bit easier. Uh, I would encourage students to do this, to utilize the public library, because that is a good opportunity for family involvement, or of course, to actually utilize the library within the school building. So that was one of my activities. And I showed you the Google form. And now for my second uh, in-person activity that I really like are these graphic organizers. I think these graphic organizers uh, could allow teachers to kind of scaffold their students into how to actually take notes and learn. Because one thing I have noticed is that, especially with narrative nonfiction or more story like nonfiction, is a lot of students still can struggle to not have it read like in a Wikipedia page. And I think sometimes it will just be easier to help narrow the scope of what the students are doing with their nonfiction piece. And I am all done now. So thank you for looking at my lesson plan, my two anchor charts, my online resource, my created online activity, my in person activity. Thank you very much, Professor Fulkerson.